Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Suhas from Batch 24. My technical seminar topic is depression detection in students under the guidance of Professor Shobha ES. These are the contents of my seminar. This is the flow of my presentation, starting with the introduction, followed by the literature survey. Then we will discuss the methodology, after which we will look into the mental strength identification. Then we will look into the comparison of few algorithms, some real-time case studies, and then applications, advantages and disadvantages, and the conclusion. Introduction. Depression is a leading cause of mental health, which has been found to increase the risk of early death. Depression is a common mental disorder. According to the Association of Medical Education in the Eastern Mediterranean region, 33% nursing students have been observed to have moderate to high level stress. Uh, Postgraduate students have shown up to 45% of stress level, and orthopedic trainees have showed up to 27% of stress. The main aim is to provide mental relief to students who undergo different levels of stress or depression using a chatbot, because youths prefer talking to a machine rather than a human. A computer program which conducts a conversation with a human either in voice or textual method is called a chatbot. Chatbots are special agents that respond with a user in natural language, just as a human would reply. The chatbot can be a therapeutic system which distributes the text into emotional labels such as happy, guilt, sad, anger, etc. Based on the labels, it can identify whether the student is normal or stressed or depressed. These are the literature survey. The first paper is combating depression in students using an intelligent chatbot, a cognitive behavioral therapy. It was published in the year 2019 by an Indian author. In this paper, the chatbot is trained in such a way that when a user chat interacts with the chatbot, it classifies the text into several emotions such as happy, joy, shame, anger, fear, etc. Further, based on the emotion, it calculates the positivity and negativity percentage of for each text. Finally, an algorithm is proposed to classify the mental state of the user based on the negativity percentage. The second paper is depression detection using emotion artificial intelligence. It was published in the year 2017. It works the same way, but it uses SVM and naive bias for classification. The third paper which I referred was identifying emotion labels from psychiatric social text using a bidirectional LSTM CNN model. It was published in the year 2020 by some Chinese authors. Um, this classifier, in this paper, it uses a deep learning framework using CNN and bidirectional LSTM feature extraction. Coming to the methodology, the data set used for training is the IS-ER data set data set for emotion detection in text. This data set consists of 7,652 phrases and 1,542 emotional words, which are being categorized into several emotions such as shame, anger, happy, joy, sadness, guilt, fear, etc. It has a few more emotions. After loading the data set, the first step is pre-processing, in which tokenization is being done to divide an entire text into a list of sentences by using an unsupervised algorithm to build a model for abbreviations, words, collocations, and words which are in the starting sentence. Next step is for forming word vector. And unsupervised learning is being used for obtaining vector representations for the words. The next step is embedding. Embedding is done to develop a powerful semantic relationship between the words. The main purpose of this embedding is to find the nearest neighbor in space, which leads to the formation of various cluster categories. It is done to provide as an input for the machine learning model. For classification, which I'll be discussing in the next slide, the user chat text are the interaction between the chatbot and the student, and the classifier also I'll discuss in the next part. So this is the classifier. First step of the classifier is word embedding layer, which is used to develop a semantic relation between the words. Word to vec model is used to convert the input into vector form. It is basically done to map vocabulary into a corresponding vector, or can be said as converting words from words to numbers. Bidirectional LSTM layer is used as a feature extractor, which extracts each feature of each word vector. It can read the inputs to both forward and backward passes. LSTM extracts the high level features, and the CNN is used to extract the low level features of the input by using a fixed window. The max pooling layer is used to reduce the dimensionality of the module and to extract the maximum features. Uh, and it um, and it obtains the maximum value of each combination features and obtains the most important feature. The hidden layer is a FNN used to map the maximum hidden features to a new hidden feature vector. Finally, the inference layer is used to predict the probabilities of different emotional labels. The system model, the input of a student's reply is taken as input. Uh, Even the sentences are divided to the appropriate emotion labels. Based on the emotion label, it is classified as positive or negative. If it is positive, it means that the student is not suffering from any depression. And if negative, it is further classified as stressed, normal, or depressed on basis of an algorithm, that is a mental state classification, MSC. And then coming to the mental state identification, the identification is basically done on 5 different levels, such as zero depression, slightly depressed, highly depressed, slightly depressed, or highly depressed. The negativity percentage is calculated using the formula of all the negative thoughts, such as sad, angry, disgust, divided by the total number of the chat sentences. The treatment is in such a way that if the negativity level is less than 20%, the student does not require any therapy and is completely fine. If he is slightly stressed, that is ranging from 20 to 40, relaxation is required for the students for the student. And if the range is from 40 to 60, stress must be reduced in the student's workload. And then coming if the range is between 60 to 75, he must engage in some recreational activities such as trekking, or some other activities like cycling and swimming, etc. And coming if the percentage level is more than 75, the student needs to consult a doctor, and he may be put under medication. Coming to the algorithm comparison, RNN and HAN showed an accuracy of up to 70%, and CNN showed 75% of accuracy for 15 epochs. For 15 epochs. Real-time case studies. VBot it uses a similar approach for depression analysis. YCO is used for stress and anxiety analysis. JoBot is a 5 minutes activity test which can improve your mental health if you're suffering from stress, anxiety, or if you're being unmotivated. Talkspace, which is a paid software, provides an online therapy with a licensed health professional, which can be the licensed professional is going to assist the student after recognizing if the student is going through depression or not. Coming to the application, this model can help reduce the student's mental stress and help if the student is suffering from loneliness. This model can be used in colleges to provide students a better mental health. Coming to the advantages and disadvantages, this chatbot can help the students to open about their feelings and their fears, and then it can recognize if the student is normal, stressed, or depressed. Coming to the disadvantages, it does not have a creative mind as human, so it might not be able to give some solutions, or it may not be able to classify properly, like if the student is stressed or not. And then it may give some insensitive answers which may affect the student's health even more. Coming to the conclusion and future work, the chatbot can be used as a social therapeutic to improve the student's health. Better algorithms can be used to improve the accuracy, like SPM and naive Bayes. Supervised learning classification have a limitation and cannot grant a human level accuracy in prediction of depression through a text. So This may cause a little problem to the student. For the future enhancement, a layer of expert-based suggestions can be added to the module to reduce false assumptions. These are the references I used. And thank you. Any questions?
Lots of questions. Now, I think I should allow other people to ask before I will ask. I need to take at least 10 minutes.
Yes.
Victor, I will take over after you do, because I don't want the questions to be repetitive. In case if there are anything left.
Okay,
out,
done.
Okay.
Yeah. How about Kavya ma'am? I want Kavya ma'am to ask first.
Sir, you can carry on, sir. You please ask.
Okay, Deepti ma'am is there? Okay, so first thing, go to your title. Go to your title. What's your name? Suhas, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Suhas, depression detection in students. So your title is hazy, vague, and incomprehensible. Depression detection in students. Now you ended up using machine learning. So, and
Yes,
it is not called, it is not called detection, because again, you ended up classifying it, right?
Yes,
so you should have called it diagnosis, or maybe classification of detection, depression subtypes using a blend of CNN, because I could see CNN,
Yes.
RN, and HAN, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so now why did I bring this up? How do you diagnose depression? Because you said depression detection. So
Yes,
how do you
yes.
diagnose in students? How do you diagnose depression? Can you tell me how?
So through the text, like how they use the words based on.
Okay, now that is a very wrong approach. Okay, so
Yes, sir.
naturally since why I'm interested is because this is a clinical research, and I have worked with some of the students also in last sem. Okay, your batch.
Yes,
you know Sheet, right?
The seniors had
Yes.
done a project based on this IT people.
So all these things we have to address from the clinical point of view.
Yes, sir.
Do you know who you're supposed to talk to if you feel that you are depressed? What is that person called? The person has a name. A doctor who specializes in diagnosis of depression.
So no, sir, I don't know.
Good boy. So before you take up something that is medical related, you should understand it from that point of view. Now go to your slide. So we talk to a site now. Look at this. There is no laboratory test to diagnose depression. Okay.
Yes, sir.
But there are what we call a questionnaire generated approach in which you can use to detect, okay, or which you can use, go to your slide, in which you can use to predict whether the person has depression or not clinically before we come to using of machine learning. Open your presentation. Yeah, next slide. So first thing, 1 minute. Yeah. So now stop here. My question is, okay, I'll come to that. So first thing is there are two people here, two schools of thought here. One is called a psychiatrist and another one is a psychologist.
Oh, yes, sir.
So why do we need both of them? Now, people, if you say go meet a psychiatrist, they think you are mentally retarded. That is not what we mean, okay?
Yes,
because depression, now I will ask you this. Do you know depression has different names? They have different types. There are names of that are given to depression. Do you know that? That it is not only depression. Okay, good boy. So there are, okay, good. So there are about 7 common types of depression, including bipolar disorder. Yes. Now, if I ask you now, how do you differentiate anxiety, depression, and mood swings? How do you differentiate that? You know mood swing, right?
Yes, sir. Occasionally we may have mood swing.
Somebody who has mood swing, can you say the person is depressed?
No, sir.
Okay, but that also is a sign. So yes, now how about anxiety? You know, people, they have mixed feelings. Again, yes, they are anxious over little things. Okay, now that's why you see depression has common types, which include they call it SAD, seasonal affective disorder. And you have what we call MDD, but I normally call it MAD, which is major depressive disorder. Another one is also called PPD, which is called postpartum depression and atypical depression. Okay. So I just gave you some instances. Now, these kinds of stuff are very difficult to diagnose. That's why we need these two. So what will a psychiatrist do? Before a psychiatrist, you meet a psychologist. A psychologist will ask you a series of questions, usually generated in form of, questionnaire and some stuff, okay? They try to understand you from your psychological point of view. They'll ask you a couple of questions, talk to your parents, do into that. After they are done, then they'll put you on drugs, like somebody who has a bipolar disorder, right? Yes, they put the person on medication. Sorry, let's not use the word drugs, okay? So they put the person on medication, yes. Okay, so now when they put that person on medication, that's why you need a psychiatrist, okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, having said this, my question is, why don't you do a study in India? Because you said something according to Association of Mediterranean, blah, 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 right? When you started.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So is it that why don't you do a study that relates to India? Because when you're talking about technical, this is actually something which is a matter of life and death, actually, right? Yes, because that will give you see many of them will have suicidal thoughts and ideas.
Yes, sir. They may have some.
Yes. So how is this going to benefit Indians, right? So instead of you taking a global research which has been done, you should give us statistics, because you could have done better by representing this, okay, maybe state-wise, okay, and say this is where we stand, and this is why this is a challenge, and this is why we have to address it. Now go in your model quickly. Yes. So go to where you use those blend of CNN, okay? Yeah. Okay, fine. Yeah. So you said in that first layer, inference layer, why is that called FNN? That is FNN, right?
Yes, sir. The feed-forward neural network.
Okay. Why don't we use a kind of a multi-layer perceptron in that region? This is bidirectional LSTM, no doubt about it. So why is FNN feasible for this type of work?
Sir, it works on only non-sequential data.
Oh, it works on?
Like non-sequential.
Are you sure of what you're telling?
No, sir.
Okay, good boy. Yeah, that's what I want to know. Okay, now go to Han, where you had CNN, RNN, and Han. Quickly go there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so what is Han? Can you expand it?
Sir, hierarchical attention network.
Good. So why is Han giving you a lower accuracy here? Other than CNN?
So Han requires a lot of training data, sir. Like the data set must be large for Han.
Anyway, all of them requires large data sets, right? Even CNN also, RNN also, and all whatnot. Any deep learning, there is no deep learning without big data, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so there must be something specific that made RNN generalize poorly. So what was it?
Sir, when I refer the paper, it was shown that the data set was too less for the Han, sir.
Okay, what is the size of the data set actually? This data set was in which format? It was in CSV or in which format?
Sir, actually, I not check about it, sir.
Good boy. So before you work on something like this, you should be able to, look into the stuff and understand, because I want to ask you the next question. What are the features that they use to predict this? Remember that it is very, very difficult for you to diagnose or even detect or even classify depression, because it is highly heterogeneous in nature and behavior. People have affective mood disorder and all whatnot. Okay, so I want to ask you now, what features did the authors extract? Okay, and before select, okay, let's talk about feature selection here. How many features did they consider when building this model?
So it was not particularly mentioned in
that's what you should look into that, because we want to know whether this is justifiable or not. Did they leave any room for feature scope?
No, sir, no feature scope. It was just mentioned that they can add one more layer where they have some theoretical words, examples like they can make the model even more accurate. Like
okay, yeah, go to the application. Yeah, stop there. The application where you saw those stuff. No, sorry, where you saw those emojis, some Weibo, something up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, stop here. Have you used any of these chatbots? Have you used any of them?
No, sir.
Good boy. I use Talkspace. Listen. I use Talkspace and Weebot. Okay.
Yes, sir.
It ended up predicting that I was depressed. So do you think I'm depressed?
No, sir.
I
cannot make it just by talking to us. I need.
No. That's what I used it. I used this Weebot. I used it last year only, and even Talkspace. Now you see why we don't rely on bots.
Yes,
these machine learning models, even using autoencoders, we can fool it. Now, have you heard about Lambda?
No, sir.
It is the recent one which Google just released. It is called Language Model for Dialogue Applications.
No, sir. I guess.
Now, this can carry. Okay, don't worry. This can carry out a conversation that is natural. But with all these Weebots and stuff, they rely on what? Train data. So what happened when I experimented on these two? Okay. Now, I tried giving my insight directly, okay? But you see here, I can actually, what do you say? I can, what do you say? What did I use before? You can, I don't want to say deceive. You can, I forgotten. You can confuse this model, okay? Yeah, if he asks you, do you feel this? You say no. Do you feel that? You say no. Yes, he says now you are not depressed. So the long and short of it all is that there is no best diagnosis, no deep learning approach to diagnosing depression. It has to be done clinically. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Done. Yeah, good boy. I'm done.
Thank you, sir.
Karthik, we hope he has raised his hand. He is having any question from student side?
I'm checking it, sir. Sir, no one has raised a hand, sir.
I think he lowered it. No one raised, sir.
I was observing Karthik P, roll number 33, has raised the hand for question, I think.
Yes, sir.
He has to open his mic and he has to speak. Or else other reviewers can take the question.
And just to add to what Victor said,
yes,
unless a person is willing to get diagnosed, it is of no use. So if he does not open up, you may not end up getting proper data.
Yeah, required data.
And, it depends on how valid the data is, and that depends on the willingness of the person who wants to test whether he is undergoing depression or not.
Yes, ma'am.
So if that is valid, then your proposal may work, or otherwise, as Victor sir said, you will have to go with the clinical trials.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good effort. Anyway.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. If there are no more questions, I think we will conclude. Kavya ma'am, Dipti ma'am.
No more. That's what I observed. As sir said, it's not directly, coming to the conclusion. You have to first recognize and come. So I think a little bit deviation will be there. Very subjective.
Yes, ma'am. Noted.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, well presented, guys. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thanks everyone for participating in today's presentation and giving your inputs. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.